This video was made for adults with cystic fibrosis attending St. Vincent's University Hospital who have previously been assessed and guided to do these exercises. Exercises carried out at home are done so at your own risk. Hi folks, Ronan here. Delighted to be bringing you the first exercise video developed by St. Vincent's University Hospital in conjunction with UCD. We're going to spend about 30 minutes today focusing on building your global strength. Just a few ground rules before we get started. Make sure whatever device you're watching us on, be it a phone, an iPad or a laptop, that it's on a stable surface that you can keep an eye on us throughout. Make sure you're wearing clothing that's appropriate for exercise and that you have plenty of space around you to perform the exercise. Make sure that any trip hazards such as rugs, mats, family pets, that kind of thing are out of the way. If there's anybody in the house with you, just maybe let them know that you're going to be exercising for the next 30 minutes. You might want to consider performing some airway clearance before we start, or even checking your blood glucose levels if you've been advised to do so. Similarly, if you are using supplemental oxygen for exercise, make sure that it's set up, turned on, and ready to go. You want to make sure that you're well hydrated before you start exercise and also throughout the class, so have a bottle of water nearby that you can sip at if needed. Most importantly, we want you to exercise at a level that's correct for yourself. This is the intermediate class. If things are getting a little bit too tough for you, why don't you try our basic level class? And if things are getting too easy for you, step up to the advanced class. That's if you're managing significantly more than 10 repetitions of each exercise. We want you to stop exercising immediately if you have chest pain, if you're feeling faint or lightheaded. Similarly, if you're excessively short of breath, excessively fatigued, or you're suffering from muscle cramp, you want to stop as well. If you have any comments, queries, questions or otherwise about this video, please do feel free to give us an email at the email address on screen. Otherwise, let's get going with our first exercise. Okay, so let's get going with our first exercise. Our first exercise is the squat. Works the muscles at the front of the thigh and the muscles in our bum, so our quads and our glutes. Going to set up with our feet hip distance apart. Standing nice and straight, bring the belly button to the spine. We're going to lower our bum towards the floor by bending our knees and return to the top again. So it's just a pause at the bottom, push back up and return to the top. Okay, so when you're ready, let's get going. We're going to do 10 repetitions of this exercise together. So feet hip distance apart. Let's go with our first repetition. So you can keep your hands out in front of you for a little bit of balance if you want with this exercise. Make sure the back is staying nice and straight. You're going to bend your knees so that your thighs are parallel to the floor or as low as you can go. And return right back up to the start position. You've got 2 more repetitions to go. 1 more to go. Relax. That's our first exercise done. I'm going to demonstrate the second one while you catch a breather. Okay, so we're moving on to our second exercise now, or the press up. The press up works the muscles of the chest, the pecs, and the muscles at the back of the arm, the triceps. Also involves a little bit of core. For this exercise, I'm going to be kneeling on the mat. My hands are going to be at shoulder level and about shoulder distance apart. Going to bring my hips forward so that there's a straight line between my shoulder, hips, and knees. I'm going to bring my belly button towards spine and lower myself down towards the floor by bending my elbows. Pause at the bottom for a brief second and then return to the start position. Okay, so when you're ready, bring yourself down onto the mat nice and slowly and we'll start going for 10 repetitions. So hands underneath the shoulders, shoulder distance apart, bring the hips forward. And here we go with our first repetition. So just make sure now you're not looking at the device, that your eyes are on a point between your hands. Keep the core nice and controlled, that you're avoiding any unwanted movement at the core and pelvis area. You can feel the shoulder blades pinching together at the bottom of the movement and separating as you come up. Okay, we've got 2 more push-ups to go, guys. Last repetition, and relax. Just stay on the floor for a second as you relax from that exercise, and then when you're ready, have a stand up. Okay, well done. Right, so now let's move on to everybody's favorite, the lunge. The lunge is a really great functional exercise for people with CF as it works muscles that are big oxygen users, so you get great carryover into daily function. It works the muscles at the front of the thigh, the quads, also the muscles at the back, the hamstrings, the muscles of your bum, the glutes. We're going to start it off in a stride position, so feet are shoulder width apart and stride distance apart. Keep the back nice and straight. Going to lower ourselves to the floor by bending our back knee. Return to the top again. Okay, so you're just keeping your belly button towards spine and controlling that top half as you lunge down. Okay, when you're ready, let's start into our stride position. We're going to do 10 repetitions on this leg, switch to the other leg for 10 as well. Little bit of a break in the middle. Okay, so first repetition when you're ready. So again, keeping the back nice and straight with this one. Just have a look down at your front leg. Make sure you can see your toes at all times. You don't want that knee traveling too far forward. You also don't want it wobbling in and out. This can really work the breathing, get you breathing fast. So just control your work of breathing. There's only 2 more repetitions to go. You're on to your last one. And relax. Okay, we're going to switch to the other leg now, but if you feel you're breathing hard, you might want to pause the video, have a sit down, have a little drink of water. You're not going to get less of an effect by taking a break at this point. It's important that you recover and that you have the breath to do the second set. But if you're ready, let's change legs. And we're going to do 10 repetitions on this side as well. Okay, let's get started. So again, you're looking at the back being nice and straight. Front knee not traveling over the toes. And controlling that breathing. Back nice and straight. You've got 2 more repetitions to go, stay with it. And last one. And relax. Well done. Remember, catch your breath after the lunges. Okay, so let's move on to the tricep dip. The tricep dip, again, is working the muscles at the back of the upper arm, the triceps, and this is the exercise that you're going to need your chair for. So I'm just going to get a kitchen type chair is perfect. If you can, like I'm doing here, just pop it up against something stable like a wall, just so that it doesn't shoot out from behind you. I'm going to sit on the edge of the chair. Hands are going beside my hips and fingers are facing forward, and I'm going to extend my legs straight out in front of me, weight going through the heels, hips are nice and high. Shoulders are away from the ears. I'm going to just lower myself down by bending the elbows, pause at the bottom and push myself right back up to the top. As you return, make sure you return nice and high, and that's it. So when you're ready and you have your chair set up, come and sit on the edge of it, fingers facing forward. We're going to do 10 repetitions of this as well. Okay, so get yourself set. Take time to get yourself set. Feet out in front of you. Hips high, shoulders away from the ears. And let's start with our first repetition. So this is an upper body exercise. You're working the arms. You're not pushing up through the legs. You want to make the arms do all the work here. As you get tired, the cheat is that the shoulders start to sink up towards the ears. So keep thinking about shoulder blades down that back. You've got 2 repetitions left to go. You'll be feeling a little bit of the burn in the muscle now. Last rep and relax. Have a sit on the chair, take a little sip of water and catch your breath. Okay, so let's let the arms recover after that tricep dip. We're just going to move the chair out of the way to create a little bit more space for ourselves. And we'll take through a mat if you're using one at home. Okay, we're on to our last exercise now of the set. It's called the glute bridge. So we're going to work the exercise of our bums, the glutes, or the hamstrings at the back of our thighs. Also a great one to work the core and the lower back. So I'll demonstrate the exercise. We're going to come down onto the mat. Knees are bent, feet and knees are hip distance apart. For this exercise, I'm going to cross my arms across my shoulders, like across my chest, like so. Just thinking of using a little bit of belly button towards my spine, and I'm going to raise my hips up off the mat by squeezing my glutes together, return to the start position. Throughout this exercise, the main thing is that it's a nice controlled movement, and we're going to continue to breathe throughout, no breath holds. Okay, so when you're ready, come down onto the mat with me, and we're going to do 10 repetitions of this exercise. This is the last exercise of this set, so we're nearly there now. Feet and knees hip distance apart, arms crossed across the chest. Let's start off with our first repetition. So we're raising right up and back down again. So we don't want to overarch the back here. We're trying to get our knees, hips and shoulders in line at the top of the movement, and then softly lower to the floor, controlled throughout and breathing throughout. Now keep working. Feel the glutes and the hamstrings getting a little bit tired as we go towards the end of the set. You've got 2 repetitions left. 1 more to go. And relax. Now we've been doing a good bit of exercise, so you're just going to come slowly off the mat. Maybe roll onto your side first. Come up into a sitting position. Take a little sip of water if you need to. When you're ready, raise up off the floor. That's our first set done, guys. We're just going to repeat all of that another twice, and that's our exercise class for today. Okay guys, so we've done 1 set of that exercise class. We've learned the exercises. Now we're going to go on to do set number 2 and set number 3. We're going to go through it like a live exercise class. If you need to take a little bit of a longer break in between each exercise, feel free to pause the video. Catch your breath. You're not going to lose any of the benefits of this strength exercise class by taking slightly longer to recover, and the goal is to complete the 3 sets if you're able to. Okay, so let's go right back to the start again. We're going to start with our squats. We're going to get straight into the 10 repetitions of it. Feet are shoulder width apart, using the hands for balance if we need to. Okay, let's go for it. So again, we're trying to get those thighs parallel to the floor. Back is nice and straight. Returning right back up to the start again. We've got 2 more repetitions to go. Last one, and recover. Okay, so we're starting to feel the burn in those quads a little bit. Not too much, hopefully not breathing too hard. Like I say, take a sip of water, take a little rest, even pause if you need to. You're not going to lose any of the benefit of the exercise by pausing it. Our next exercise is the push-up. So I'm just going to pull my mat across. If you're using one at home, you can do the same. When we're ready, we're just going to come down onto the mat. Again, main teaching points are that the hands are at shoulder level and about shoulder distance apart. I'm on my knees, but I'm bringing my hips forward, belly button towards spine, and we're going to lower ourselves to the ground by bending the elbows. So let's bring ourselves down for repetition number 1 and back up to the top. Good stuff. So again, you're not looking at me on screen now. You're picking a point between your hands, looking at the floor so the head, neck and spine is in line. Well done. Coming almost to the floor but not quite. Keep the breathing under control as you work through it. We've got another 2 repetitions to go. And last one is 10. Come slowly back onto your knees, catch your breath, recover, and when you're ready, we're going to have a stand up. If you're using a mat now, just move it out of your way, because we're going to move on to our lunge exercise next. So again, our feet are hip distance apart, but we're coming into that stride position. Okay, make sure you have a nice gap between your feet, toes are pointing forward, hands on your hips if that's what's comfortable for you, back is straight, and we're going to dip down into a lunge. Again, pause the video if you need to, otherwise we're going to get straight into 10 repetitions. So just dropping down at the back. Make sure that front knee isn't wobbling in or out. and it's not traveling too far forward either. 2 more to go. Last repetition, and relax. Remember, this is the one that we call the really good functional exercise, the real oxygen burner. You might be feeling a little bit of shortness of breath now. That is normal. We're going to give you a little second to recover. Take your sip of water. Again, no need to rush. Take your time with it. We're going to switch legs and we're going to do 10 repetitions on the other side. Whenever you're ready, we'll get ready to go again. Feet hip distance apart. And we're going to go down into our first repetition. So toes are pointing forward. Let's dip down. Keep the back nice and straight throughout. Try not to turn in with that knee. And you're controlling the breathing. Slow the pace if you need. You've got 2 more repetitions to go, guys. Keep working hard now. Last repetition of the lunge. And relax. Good stuff. Now take a nice long break here. We want you to catch your breath. We want you to be feeling well doing the next 2 exercises. If you're starting to feel it, you might need to check your sugars. Take a little drink. Really good to have strong legs. When we're working with people with cystic fibrosis, really functional. Allow you to go about your activities of daily living a little bit easier. Things like climbing the stairs and all those really important things that we need to do. Get easier with lunges. The pain is worth the effort. Our next exercise is our tricep dip. So again, you're going to need to get your chair, place it against the wall. Don't want any accidents. Don't want the chair to shoot out from behind you. Come and have a sit on the chair, right on the edge. Fingers pointing forwards. Legs are extended right out in front of you and the weight is on your heels. Hips are nice and high. Shoulders are back and low. And when you're ready, we're going to dip down for our first repetition. Okay? So bringing the bum towards the floor, right up to that start position again. Thinking of bringing the hips nice and high, shoulders finish down. Good stuff. Remember, this is an upper body exercise, so we're pushing through the arms. Legs are largely switched off, they're just there for our balance. Working the full range of movement as it gets a little bit harder and we get a little bit more tired. You only have 2 more repetitions to go. And last one, finish at the top, bring the feet in, have a little sit on the chair. Catch our breath, we're really working hard now. The arms are getting tired, we've been burning the legs. Our next exercise is the bridge and it's on the mat, so you're getting a break in a second, you're getting to lie on the floor. Before we get our chair out of the way, before we bring our mat in, make sure you're recovered. And if we're good to go, we're good to go. So let's get this chair out of the way, create all the space that you need to do the exercise freely and properly. Pull your mat around. Let's lower ourselves onto the floor, nice and slowly. Feet are hip distance apart, knees are bent and hip distance apart. I'm going to take my hands, fold them across my chest. Again, thinking of bringing that belly button towards the spine. Remember, this is largely a glutes-based exercise, so we're going to use them to raise ourselves to the top. Are you ready to go for your first repetition? Let's rise ourselves up. First rep, and back down. Again, this exercise is all about the controlled movement, continuous breathing, no breath hold. Keep those knees hip distance apart. They're not touching each other. Same with the feet. We're not overarching at the back here. Just bringing it to the top of the range of movement, controlling it as we lower to the floor. Well done, guys. We've got 2 repetitions left to go. Top of the movement, don't let the range suffer as we finish off. Last rep, return to the floor. Again, we're going to roll onto our side, push up, and have a sit for a second before you rise back up. Well done, that's our second set done. We have 1 more to go. Stay with it, keep working hard. Take a little break between sets if you need. Press the pause button, get a little drink of water, and we're ready to go again in a second. Okay folks, we're really getting into the business end of it now. We're on to our third set. We've got 5 exercises left to go. They might be a little bit tricky here. You might be starting to feel the arms and the legs getting a little bit wobbly, a little bit fatigued. Remember, this is where you get the benefits. This is where you're working hard. So we really want to put in a solid set. If you can't manage the full 10 repetitions in this set, don't worry about it. Let's manage as many as we can. Just drop out for the last couple of repetitions if you need to. If we're getting around 8 to 10, we're really happy. We're starting back at the very start again with our squats. Remember, our feet are hip distance apart, nice and square, tummy towards spine, and we're keeping our backs nice and straight. Are you ready to go for the first rep? Let's do it. So we're down and back up again. So thighs parallel to the floor, and we're trying to return right to the top of the movement, extending the hips. Well done, back nice and straight. Keep the breathing under control. You've got 2 repetitions left to go now, guys. Keep working, that's 9. And 1 more is 10. And you're back to the top of the movement. Take a breather, take your rest. You'll be getting familiar with the set now, so you know we're into our push-ups. So again, just bring your mat forward if you need to. When you're ready, let's bring it down onto the floor. Again, we're kneeling for this exercise. The main teaching points, hands are at shoulder level and about shoulder width apart. Again, you might be feeling that the triceps are getting a little bit wobbly here, that the pec muscles are getting a little bit wobbly. That's okay, that's meant to happen. You're okay to exercise through that, and we'll get as many repetitions done as we can together, okay? All about keeping the core engaged here. So I'm in this position on my knees, and I'm going to bring my hips forward and through, and we're ready to go for our first repetition. Okay, so bend at the elbows, lower towards the mat, push back up to the start. 10 reps of this exercise, and then we're leaving the push-up alone, and you're done for the day. Well done. So about halfway there now, guys. Keep with me, keep working, keep the effort up. You've done well so far. We've got 2 more repetitions to go. These are the ones that count. Last rep coming up. And relax. Come back up onto the knees. Catch your breath. When you're ready, we're going to stand up. Bring the mat out of the way if you're using one. Make sure you have plenty of space. We're going to get into our lunges next. 10 lunges on one leg. Switch to the other side for 10. Remembering to take a breather. Pause the video if you need to. Let's get into it. Let's get them done. And let's get them out of the way. Shoulder distance between your hips. Feet are pointing forwards. Don't let the knee travel over the toe. And we're going to dip down for our first repetition. That's 2. Back is nice and straight, not letting the front knee wobble in or out, not letting the knee travel over the toe. Keeping the head up, looking straight in front of you. You've got 2 more repetitions to go. And last one, come back up to the top of the movement. Take a little breather, take a break, get your drink on. Just let the breathing settle, let the legs settle. We're going to change legs. This is the last set of lunges we're going to be doing today. Again, feet shoulder width apart, nice distance between the legs. Shoulders are back, toes are pointing forwards. Head up facing forwards, hands on hips if that's what's comfortable for you. Otherwise out to the side, out in front, wherever the hands are comfortable. Let's go for 10 repetitions. Good stuff. Again, just have a little quick glance down at that knee, make sure it's not traveling anywhere. Thinking of keeping the belly button towards spine. Core is nice and engaged. It can start to slip now as you start to get tired. Feel the burn in those legs, really working them hard today. You've got 2 more repetitions left to go. Last one, down, return to the top. Fantastic work. Okay, we're going to move on now to our tricep dips. This is where you get to bring in the chair. Bring in your chair, have a little sit down, have a rest between exercises if it's needed. We've worked the triceps a lot during the press-ups. We've worked the triceps a lot during the dips. Let's get as many repetitions done as we can here. Going to extend the feet out in front of us. Fingers facing forwards. Hips nice and high. Remember to keep those shoulders back and down. Let's go for our first repetition. So, bum towards the floor, push back up to the top. Hips are nice and high. Shoulders are back and down. Well done. So as you get tired, make sure the hips are still coming up to the top. Pushing through the arms, not letting the legs take over at all. You've got 2 more repetitions to go, guys. Stay with it. And last rep, well done. Take one of your legs in, bring yourself back up, perch on the edge of the chair, recover, breathe, and relax. We're on to the last exercise of the day. It's our bridge. We only have 10 repetitions to go. Have a stand up, get the chair out of the way. Move onto your mat or onto the floor if you're not using a mat. We're coming down onto the floor now ourselves. Again, as you settle down onto the mat, feet shoulder width apart, knees shoulder width apart. They're not touching together. There is a little bit of a gap between them. You're lying flat down onto the floor, thinking of bringing your belly button towards your spine and flattening out the back into the mat. Hands crossed across the chest. And we're using the glutes to raise ourselves up. Here comes repetition 1. If you're ready, rise up. And slowly and controlled, back down to the floor again. We're not overarching our back at the top of this exercise, remember. Just keeping the knees, hips, and shoulders in a straight line. Again, we're working the glutes, the hamstrings at the back of the thighs, the lower back, and the core with this exercise. Keep the breathing nice and controlled. We've got another 2 full repetitions to go, so this is number 9. And the last one is 10. Slowly return to the floor, roll over onto your side, and have a sit up. Stand up. Fantastic, well done guys. That's your exercise session done for the day. 3 sets, lots of strength work. Working the arms, working the legs, and working the core. It's been a global session. We want you to try and do these exercises 2-3 times a week, and you're going to get stronger. When this class gets easier, remember, move on to the advanced video. If it's a little bit too tough for you, move on to the first video for something a little bit less intense. As always, any suggestions, queries, comments, otherwise, email us, cfphysio@svuh.ie. Hope you enjoyed the class. Thanks very much.